you've been to some far places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such...
And it's Thierry Henry. And Henry is magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. And when you need a goal, you need Thierry Henry.
Something changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent.
So, good evening, everyone. The season's over. Arsenal, and we can all relax and have a nice summer and wait for all the BS that Arsenal Football Club coming out with about who we're going to sign, and we don't sign anyone. But this particular season we're going to talk about, 1903-04, is probably one of the most iconic seasons for Arsenal Football Club, because this is where they really push on and they gain promotion to Division 1. And an interesting point, it's the only time in Arsenal's football history they ever gain promotion by playing football on the pitch. The next controversy time when they did get relegated in the future, and when they got back into Division 1, was not by their ability to play football. So there we are. Just answer a few questions or comments here. And obviously Dynamo to us, how it went down, Jez. I'm not sure what you mean there, mate, but don't know. There you go. Carl, nice to see you, man. And FM22 fanboy, nice to see you, bruv. Arsenal Alex, mate, love to see you. Go and subscribe to Alex's channel, man. It's good stuff. It's good content. I was watching it the other night. Very nice. And Chike, nice to see you, my friend. Hi, mate. One more question. Who do you think will win the Champions League on Saturday? I'm going Liverpool. I'm going Liverpool. I always support a British club in any European competition, so I'm going Liverpool, man. Carl Rossi, hi, mate. Was around Islington Emirates over the weekend for a visit. Was looking out for yourself or Kenny Ken. I wasn't there, mate. I wasn't there. Kenny was. Kenny was there. But there we go. Craig Malloy, evening, mate. How are you doing? Right, let's get into this. So, this season, 1903-04, big season for Arsenal, or Woolwich Arsenal. So they started off with 8 straight wins. These games being 3-0 against Blackpool at home, 2-0 away at Gainsborough Trinity, a club that they may exist, I don't know, and an 8-0 win against Burton United. And this really put a stamp on what they wanted to actually do under their current manager, Harry Bradshaw. So they went on then to get a 4-0 win away at Bristol City and a 4-0 home win against Manchester United. Now, Man United have been established as a professional club a lot longer than Arsenal. So that was a major scalp. And we'll see what happens at the end of the season. They then got a 3-1 away win at Glossop and an important, very important win with a 3-2 away win at Burslem Port Vale, who later went on to become, as we know of them today, they're called Port Vale. The area their ground is actually in Burslem in Stoke. But they then went on for another 8-0 home win against Leicester Foss. The team later becomes Leicester City. So the run of wins was stopped very sadly by an away win lost 2-1 at Barnsley. So they've had a great start. And at this point of the season, Arsenal are top of the table. So it's a really good start to their ambitions. Two notable scorers in these games were a guy we've talked about before, a guy called Bill Gwyn, and a new guy, Tim Coleman, both scoring in the 8 straight wins. They scored in every single game. So that showed the quality that they were having. Woolwich Arsenal was basically scoring goals for fun this season. And a recent cap for 2 players for Ireland, Tommy Shanks and Bill Coleman, each scoring 20 goals that season for Arsenal. The team as a whole scored 91 goals and conceded only 22, which gave them a goal difference of 69, which, you know, you've got to say that's quite a remarkable feat. Now, this remarkable improvement in the team also saw Arsenal get back into the second round of the FA Cup again, but only to lose to the eventual FA Cup winners, Manchester City. So Harry Bradshaw, who'd been the architect, who'd been the manager since 1899, but he'd been the architect of this team, having built it in, you could say, an incremental fashion. He'd had his ups and downs and arguments with the board, as the board always seemed to have with their management. They were, back in them times, very, very hands-on, but this guy was a pretty clued up guy and basically wasn't gonna, at this point, let the directors direct him in the wrong way. That may say a strange way of saying it, but Arsenal, his way of wanting to get Woolwich Arsenal to work was by pure and utter attractive football. A bit like, you could say, you know, the Wenger days, I suppose. You could say that. But he tried very hard, Harry Bradshaw, but eventually he got peed off with the club, and around Christmas time, 1903, he resigned. However, he basically said he would stay on to direct the club until the club could find another manager. So you have to admire the fella, because he's actually built this club up to a position where they are now top of the league and vying for promotion. But because of the way the directors were treating him, he decided, nah, I've had enough. I'm out. I'm gone. You know, move on, get somebody else. So he basically stayed, but the team continued with their great progression in the year of 1904. So the board eventually bring in a chap called Phil Kelso in early April, right at the beginning of April 1904. And it is stated that he was probably the toughest Arsenal manager in Arsenal's history. That's what's stated, but we'll come back to that. We'll go through some of your comments. Yeah. I miss Highbury more and more as each year go. Yeah, all day, mate, all day. I can't stand the Emirates. I'll be honest with you. Can't stand the place. And Cyborg Ninja, great to see you, man. Hi, Jez. Yeah, nice to see you, man. But just looking for some of them. If Arsenal give N-Tech, oh, mate, don't even go there. Don't even go there. That fella is not worthy of the full team. That is for sure. Mate, I'd go mental. I would go mental. Honestly. No way. This is Arsenal history. It is, man. It is. But we'll move on. So, Phil Kelso's coming. Real tough bloke. And reputedly, as I said, one of the hardest, toughest managers Arsenal have ever recruited. So, he took over in early April and was in charge when Woolwich Arsenal sealed promotion last game of the season with a home draw against Burslem Port Vale. And Harry Bradshaw was also at the game to see his previous charges get that promotion. Now, this season, Woolwich Arsenal were averaging around 25,000 fans at each home game. Now, for a second division team, that was quite unbelievable. Most other Division 2 teams were getting around 15 to 18. So you could really see where the club and the ambition was. So maybe Arsenal, Arteta, Edu, Vinay, you might want to go back and revisit these times and have a little look and see what was going down. So the highest attendance of the season was at home against Man City in the FA Cup, who went on to win the FA Cup this season, which sadly they lost 2-0. So made a decade of trying for Woolwich Arsenal, finally made it to the top table of English football. During this season, they did some quite extraordinary stuff. They scored the most goals in the league and conceded the least. Preston North End won the league with 50 points, by 1 point above Woolwich Arsenal's 49. Man United missed out on promotion by coming third and finished on 48 points. So it was a close race, really, on the last day of the season. A bit like what we saw last Saturday against Liverpool, Man City. And it must have been quite interesting for the teams, because obviously back then there wasn't any communication around the grounds and all that. So they must have all been knowledgeable about where the teams were, but didn't have a clue of what the scores were. So it was an interesting point. So if it was so close that if Woolwich Arsenal had beaten Burslem Port Vale in the last game, they would have been promoted as champions of Division 2. But unfortunately, the 0-0 draw didn't happen. So at the end of the season, the stats were Woolwich Arsenal had played 34, they'd won 21, drawn 7, lost 6, scored 91 goals, conceded 22, and finished with 49 points. Now, interestingly, Preston North End, who won Division 2 that year, had only won 20 games, but had only lost 4. The directors of Woolwich Arsenal then decided that a commemorative gold medal should be struck to celebrate this great achievement. And it was a great achievement, let's be fair. And each player and the manager received one. And in recognition of the hard work and leadership that the old manager, Harry Bradshaw, had done, was also a recipient of that. Now, this comes back to the days when Arsenal, Woolwich Arsenal, whatever you want to call it, were a class club with traditions. Because if in modern times that was to happen, they wouldn't give the old departing manager a medal, would they? It's a joke. But there we are. But we're getting some more questions or comments or whatever. Anybody, if you've got any questions, then give us a shout, man. Anyone got any old pics of the manor ground of Highbury? Pre-25, I'm doing drawings. I've already done full Highbury with the old clock end. I think I might be able to help you there, mate, because I do have a book that does show some pictures of the manor ground with the earth banking. And I think it's got some pictures of the north and south stands, which had the concrete, which in some gardens in Plumstead still to this day are there. So I might be able to help you out there. So yes, Woolwich Arsenal did get relegated. Yes, they did, mate. They did, but they were called Arsenal then. But the Arsenal has never been relegated. Sorry, mate. In 1913, they did get relegated. Finished up bottom. So there you go. But never been relegated since. But you never know this manager. You never know what's going to happen, do you? So there we are. Alex Arsenal learning so much. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Carl, do smash the likes up, people. If you're a fan of the Arsenal fans with massive knowledge, hit the thing. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, quite a few years ago, I actually asked Arsenal Football Club if I could do a thing on their history. I didn't want back paying for it. It was going to be free, and basically they deemed it irrelevant. There you go. So trying to do it on here, trying to educate people, but we'll see what happens. Did Arsenal play or train in Woolwich Common, as it's near me? I don't know on that one, mate. It was Plumstead Common. They may have done. I don't know. I do not know. So there we go. James Brown, salute. Whole gunner chairs, salute. Chat. Make sure to like and subscribe. Cheers, bro. Nice one. Thank you very much for watching. And James, we all know official Arsenal aren't going to be dropping gems like this. No. You go on the Arsenal website, and if anybody can tell me where anything on there tells you about the history of Arsenal, because I can't find anything, and I think that is so wrong, really is. But there we are. Mr. Pads, hello, Jez. Hope you're well, brother. I'm great, mate. Hope you are. Glad the season's over. We can all now relax and look forward to all the BS that we get talked to about during the transfer windows. It's already started, isn't it? Let's get it right. It's already started. So, there we go. It's typical Arsenal. We're linked to everyone. Arsenal started in the Woolwich Barracks, right? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It's all linked. Even Dial Square, the original team that you were referring to, was linked to the Woolwich Foundry Armaments Works. And that's how it all started back in 1886. So, yeah, you're quite right, mate. You're quite right. Mike England, good evening, Jez and chat. Good evening, Mike. How are you? And Carl, the only history on the site is merch related. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so we move on. So at the end of the season, Preston North End have won the league and Arsenal promoted second. The director of the club, as I say, decided to strike this gold medal, gave it all the players and Harry Bradshaw and the new manager. But one notable player that joined the club at the start of the season was a certain Percy Sands. He played at centre-back, and it is said that his appointment was one of the main factors in the improvement of the defence. He made over 350 appearances and was a record for Arsenal, excuse me, from 1915 to 1931. He was made captain in 1905-06 and held that position for 9 seasons, which is the longest, excuse me, by any Arsenal player. Quite unbelievable, this stat. Until Tony Adams marathon as a captain many years later. So that's, you know, that's quite something to say, isn't it, really? Anyway, 1904-05, Arsenal are now in Division 1. And before the season got underway, the club decided that major upgrade works were needed at the Manor Ground. So, because they anticipated the much bigger crowds that were going to be from the home fans and the away fans. So they decided to invest in the ground, and they basically built on the west side of the ground a huge, massive earth mound built of earth, right? So can you imagine what that was like in the winter? I mean, it's laughable. Was created, it was called the Abbey Wood End. So this new construction was called the Spion Kop, and this was the first terrace to be named as such. Now, it wasn't really, it was a terrace, it was earth, it wasn't concrete, it was steps cut in the earth. So I can't imagine that what the health and safety was like on that. I really can't, but there we are. So in August 1904, with the multitude of soldiers that have come back from the Boer War, it was called the Kop. And there's been many arguments over the years about which ground first called the terrace the Kop. Well, apparently, according to the history books, this is the one. It was called the Spion Kop. And it was called the Spion Kop because a lot of these returning soldiers, it is said that it reminded them of a mountain in South Africa where they had fought in the Boer War. So I don't know. I'm just saying it. If it's true, I don't know. But it's an interesting one. It's been debated and debated for such a long time. But there we are. Now, work was also supposed to be started on the north and south stands. But in reality, the only refurbishment that was undertaken was by the noted football architect Archibald Leach. Now, he was famous for designing a lot of the football grounds that are still in existence today, notably Goodison Park, Nottingham Forest grounds, and Carlisle United, and the old, it's gone now, so it's irrelevant, but the old Sunderland ground. But he also had involvement with the original White Hart Lane. So nothing was basically done to what it should have been at the new grounds, at the Manor Ground. So it took the team 4 games in the start of the season. It took the team 4 games to score their first Division 1 goal, losing their first away game at Newcastle 3-0. And it's quite odd that Arsenal at this point in time didn't have a great record against Newcastle. In fact, throughout all their history, they'd never beaten them at this point. Excuse me. Cheers. But in the first game, they lost 3-0 to Newcastle away. A draw at home to the new boys who they got promoted with, Preston North End, 0-0. And an away loss to Middlesbrough, 1-0. But the next home game saw the team win 2-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And that was a major, major day out for Arsenal, with the scorers being Coleman and a new player, Charlie Satterthwaite, who went on to be the top goal scorer for the club that season with 11 goals. Now, the season also saw the debut of a guy called Andy Ducat, who went on to be probably, it's reputed in history, to be the most talented player to ever play at the Manor Ground. He will come more into the history as we move on. Charlie Satterthwaite was in the game against Wolves to score the first goal for the club in Division 1. And years ago at Highbury, there used to be a plaque with his name in it. I've never seen it since. God knows whatever happened to it. It should be really at the Emirates because it is major. Maybe it's, I've been in the Emirates Museum. I haven't seen it. But, anyway, look at small comments. Jason Carr, afternoon, mate. First time catching live. Big up yourself, sir. And big up to you, my friend. Glad to see you. Thank you for coming on. And Craig, 250 mil spent, and it seems we need 500 mil more to have a hope of finishing top 4 due to the shambolic club management. Yes, mate. And we know we ain't going to spend that. We are never going to spend that. Will Elm Hopper, even just in chat, a player not often mentioned, Alan Sunderland. What was he like? He was awesome, mate. Awesome. I was very fortunate back in the day to meet him a couple of times. Lovely, lovely fella. And underrated. Chip, absolutely underrated. So, answers. Carl, what we're drinking tonight? Jez, I'm drinking a Western Australian Shiraz, my friend. Let's have a look at this here. Michael Spuds was just a mix of cow and horse shit. Yeah, exactly. So, James Brown, this is Amazon worthy documentary, all this info you're dropping, Jez. Perfect listening while at work. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, my friend. Hope you're enjoying it. Lots more to come throughout the summer. The mighty Saw, Ennick has put 150 million into Spurs transfer. Dear God, is he? Oh, Christ. I don't think Arsenal will spend more than, I think they're going to rely on sales to bolster the transfer budget, and that is a worry to me. Eddie's son has just left the academy. Do you think that will make him even less bothered? I don't think he's bothered anyway, is he? Let's be fair. Noah Natwali, make sure you try a pizza bianca, unusual but insanely good. For pasta, ciao e pepe is insane. Okay. Right, because getting back to this. So Phil Kelso is at the helm, and he's reputedly an absolute tough nut. The team finished a credible 10th in their first debut season, which, you know, let's be fair, that's a decent result because they're up against some serious teams here. But so at the end of the season, they've played 34 games, won 12, drawn 9, lost 13, scored 36, conceded 40. So he hasn't fixed the defence, we all say. But never mind. And they finished with 33 points. In the FA Cup, the team again went out in the first round after a 0-0 draw to Bristol City. They lost 1-0 in the replay. So the FA Cup still is causing Arsenal major problems. And it's, you know, a bit of a pain, really, isn't it? They did, however, have a decidedly one-sided friendly against the Parisian team, which resulted in Woolwich Arsenal winning 26-1, which at that point in time was a record in history. Now, you've got to remember that at this point in time, French football was very amateur. It was very, very amateur. A lot of European countries were still getting into football. And basically, on returning home, the French team erected a statue in the honour of the player who scored their one goal. And that is true. I have seen it. If you ever go to Saint-Etienne in France, it's there. It's got a few bullet holes and shrapnel damage from World War II, but it is there. That is true. It is actually there. I've seen it. But the away support this season was incredible, with thousands of fans making the journeys to support the club. And one example was in December 1904. This was an official sponsored excursion by Woolwich Arsenal, but it doubled up basically as a Christmas party for the away fans, which numbered 3,500. Now you've got to think back then, you know, that, you know, you've got to remember these are factory workers, and travelling around was a lot of money. So even though it was part sponsored by the club, you still have to think, you know, back in time, that's a big day out, and these aren't modern trains, these are steam engines, so it's going to take you time to get there. Anyway, the club won 5-1 away, which was a major result against the first ever professional football club in history. Notts County were the founding members of the professional era. So that was a major result. So a 5-1 win just before Christmas. You can imagine what a day out that was. The club also this year actually made a profit of £1,674. Doesn't sound a lot nowadays. In this modern day and age, that's probably about £106,000. So that's a major achievement when you consider that the club 5 years previous was almost bankrupt and was going to be going out of business. But at this point of the season, the end of this year, it was a very exciting time for being an Arsenal supporter, an Arsenal player, and basically it must have been very exciting to be around the club in general. So the next one, which will be probably latter part this week, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened at Arsenal. So we just go through these last comments. Just going through these. Noah Natwali, Jez Powell, love you, mate. Once a Gooner, always a Gooner fella. Always a Gooner. Could never not be a Gooner. Hope Carl and AFC 84. Carl Rossi, hope you're well, mate. Hope you are as well, Carl. Mike England, fine, thank you. Lovely. And CMO, top fella. Go and follow this young man. Brilliant. Done all my graphics. Everybody needs any graphics. Go and support this young guy, Connor. Brilliant stuff. And he's just started another channel about his graphics and stuff. So, yeah, top man. Top man. Zach, Tyrone, Jez, great content. Young Arsenal fans need to check themselves and find old school fans to buddy up with, ones who know the history of the club. Yeah, they don't, mate, do they? They don't give a shit. Let's be fair. They don't. I mean, yeah, I'd love it. But, do you know, I've not ever, since I've been doing this show, I don't believe I've ever had one young Arsenal fan come in here and ask a question, because they don't care. They're not interested. You've got to remember, most of these kids, they only know from Wenger onwards. And that's the sad indictment of this football club. A lot of them follow the wrong people, in my opinion. But there we are. They get distracted by those people, and they don't care. It's not an interest to them, which is sad. Really, it is sad. But Khan AFC 84, you too, Jez, my man, top fella. And last one, I believe, is Louis Key 73. We will sort you out some proper prints of Highbury best about, Jez. I'm sure you will, my friend. I'm sure you will. Arsenal first, top fella, top man. Big up, Jez. Arsenal first. You're a great fella, man. Great fella. I'm lucky I've seen 5 titles. Yes. Well, when will we see another one? I don't know. But if I had a magic wand, I'd say next season, but it ain't going to happen because we have an absolute crap manager and a crap shit show of a structure. I've been saying it for 2 years, along with Lee and Kenny. And do you know, it's been amazing, actually, the hate that Lee, Kenny and I have had, because we say it as it is. We don't accept mediocrity. It is what it is. So, I'm old enough, I'm ugly enough, I can take it. I don't give a shit. But Craig Lloyd, Kroenke's out, Vinay out, Garlic Head out, Vinay out, Edu out, Arteta out. Bang on, my friend. Bang, bang, bang on. All day. Tayyib Khan, Jez, were you allowed to watch Henry Cooper versus Muhammad Ali at Highbury? No, I wasn't, my friend. Sadly not. No, I wasn't. No. No. But there you go. Ian Patterson, I don't trust Arteta with another 150 million. Mate, I wouldn't trust him with 15 bleeding quid. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't trust him because this guy is an absolute fake. He's a fraud and he's an absolute liar. So, no. Mike England, Craig Malloy, fair play, Philly. That's a fact. And James Brown, you, Kenny and Lee Gunner are the only ones who have been talking sense about our club for ages. Everyone else is on the get along gang train. Fair play, but not for me. Cheers, my friend. Cheers, mate. Yeah, we called it over 2 years ago. You know what I mean? How could you not see it? But there's a lot of people that like to jump on the bandwagon for whatever they want to achieve. Lauky Kit 73. Who could hate Kenny Ken? He's a clock ender. Yeah, he was back in time, wasn't he? I think he's in block 25 now, isn't he? I think. But anyway, people, I'm going to call it there. Diego C. Palace, top fella. You are one of my two favourite Palace fans, my friend. If you watch it live on playback, please subscribe. That Arsenal history and more. Top man, love this guy, and your other buddy, mate, who comes here sometimes. Carl Ross, you discovered the world of Arsenal fans. Lee Gunner, yourself, and many more 3 years ago has been a blessing. I felt as though I was the only fan with high ambition until then. Well, no, you're not on your own, my friend. You're not on your own. Let me tell you, Carl, back in Islington, there's an awful lot of people that I know from years back that used to go to games who don't go anymore. They don't go because they're my age, around my age, bit older than me, bit younger, but the same age. They don't go anymore because they don't believe in the club. And that's a sad thing, isn't it? People that I used to go to games with back in, when I was a kid, 10, 11, all that with my granddad and whatever. And up through my teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They don't go because they don't have any faith in the ownership. They don't have any faith in the manager. And it's such a shame. It really is, because these people have been home and away for years and years and years, spent serious money for this football club. Money that, as when we were in our late 20s, 30s with families, kids and all that, struggling through the mortgage and whatever, you'd always scrape something together to get to a game. And we did it. And I can honestly tell you, there was times when I couldn't really justify having a season ticket. It's probably pretty the wrong thing to do because there was other priorities to attend to. Go to away games. I went 7 seasons to every home and away game. And was that the right thing to do? I say yes. Others, mainly the wife, would say no, because it wasn't really, in hindsight, being older and wiser now, probably wasn't the right thing to do because the costs, it was stupid. But that's what football and your club does to you, doesn't it? But anyway, we'll go through the last comments that I'm going to bail out. Taib Khan, cheers. Good to see you educating Arsenal fans about this great club. We need more Arsenal fans who possess your knowledge. They're out there, my friend. They are. Look, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there that know a lot more than me. Craig Lloyd, Jez, thank you for your content and knowledge you have for Arsenal. Really helps the true Arsenal fans. It's a pleasure, my friend. I hope you enjoy it. I do. Carl Rossi, it really is, Jez. Thanks very much for sharing that. Honestly, I can understand why they lost the faith, but it would really need them now more than ever. Yeah, they won't come back, mate. They won't. I've spoken to loads of them. Our club hierarchy is made of absolute dross, which needs to be outed. Ownership has no footballing acumen. The higher absolute clowns to oversee our performances on and off the pitch. Yeah, we've done it for a long time, mate. We've done it for a long time. This club has no ambition anymore. That's the problem. That is the problem. I've been at Highbury with 15,000 versus Fools in 83, better than the Emirates. Yep, every day. I don't like the Emirates. Don't like it. I stopped going to games back in 2014. I miss it, but I can't be asked to travel 60 plus to get thumped every week. I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. I don't live around the corner anymore, so it's, it's a journey. Tayyip Hussein, Khan, keep up the pressure, especially those twat fans. Yeah, all day. All day. Will and Hooper, football lost its credibility in 1992. Yes, it did. Yes, all day. When it came the Premier League from Division 1. Money killed it. Football's early, 150 a week for Dodge doing bugger all. Yeah, Sky Sports, my friend. Sky Sports. That's where it all started. Type Jess, your knowledge is priceless, learned so much and always will. It's a pleasure, my friend. It is a pleasure. Diego, your Jez doesn't need a script. It's all in his mullet. Brilliant. Arsenal Football Insight, brilliant. Well, it's nearly all up there, but I do have to have a script. I won't lie. I have got a script. Craig Malloy, Highbury was a proper ground, not like the Emirates Stadium. Fact. Absolutely, all day. Anyway, people, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This, I'll say, was one of Arsenal's most iconic seasons. It got them into Division 1 by promotion on the pitch. Remember that, because we will shortly come on to the fact of how Arsenal got relegated and re-promoted, but not by their ability on the pitch. And that's one of the most controversial things that has occurred. And you could probably say that's why there is this rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham. But I hope you enjoyed it, people. If you're new, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I'm going to be bringing more content and having some people on. I want to get some of you guys on. Yeah. So I'm going to try and work out how I can do that and get your history, your involvement with the club, what you like about the club, what you don't like about the club. And not next week, probably the week after, I'll be having Lee and Kenny on with Gracie May. So that'll be a good show. And look forward to speaking to you all again soon, guys. And thanks very much for your support. It's a pleasure speaking to you. And thanks for all the comments. We've some great comments tonight. So thanks again, guys. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Chill.